Welcome back. All right, career video. You know what's funny? This is one of those careers I thought I'd already done a video on Pat LaFontaine. So career videos are pretty common during downtime slash off season slash when things are a little bit slower during the regular season as well. And so Pat LaFontaine, I thought at some point I'd covered, but apparently I hadn't. And I'm wearing Buffalo gear because I thought he had his best years. Remember the Sabres? Could have worn Islanders gear. Could have worn Rangers, I guess. The interesting thing being that he said that he played for 3 different teams and never needed to change his license plate. So there's that. Pat LaFontaine, when he's drafted third overall in 1983, with a draft pick that the Islanders had no business drafting third. But, you know, when you make some shrewd trades, and they did, Pat LaFontaine is there and they get him. And I was mad at the time as a fan. Why? Because the Islanders had just won their 4th straight Stanley Cup, and LaFontaine looked like he was going to be a star. And I thought that was unfair. I thought, you know, their dynasty is still a dynasty, and now they've got a top prospect. This is painful. And this is when Pat Flatley was coming in as well. And it appeared at the time that Flatley and LaFontaine were going to be the core of a very good Islanders team to come. And they did have some good years, but never got back to the Stanley Cup. So, LaFontaine comes in 83-84. Same year he's drafted. Plays 15 games. 13 goals, 6 assists, 19 points. Great run. And again, as a fan at the time, I was like, seriously, here's a team with an embarrassment of riches with guys like Bossy and Trottier and Gillies. And now you're adding LaFontaine to that forward group. Wow. In the playoffs, he plays 16 games. They got to the Stanley Cup final and lost against the Oilers. 3 goals, 6 assists for 9 points. So, again, it looks like, all right, so here's a star player automatically for the New York Islanders. 84-85, bit of a setback for him comparatively speaking with that first 15-game year. 67 games, 19 goals, 35 assists, 54 points. But again, there's a lot of depth on this team, and there's no need to rush him, right? In the playoffs, he plays 9 games, 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 points. And once that dynasty was done, and 84, that run to the final, was really the end of that dynasty, the Islanders fell off kind of quickly. And 85-86, he plays 65 games, 30 goals, 23 assists, 53 points in the playoffs. Only 3 games played, just has the 1 goal for his point total overall in that playoff run. So kind of a bit of a mess. But 86-87, goal scoring really shows up for him. He gets 80 games played, 38 goals, 32 assists, 70 points. So that's back-to-back seasons of 30 goals, almost 40 that second year. And almost a point a game that second year as well. 14 games, 5 goals, 7 assists, 12 points. So in the playoffs, not too bad of a run. Now, what makes this even more famous from a LaFontaine perspective is the Easter Epic. April 18th, the overtime goal versus Washington, 68 minutes and 47 seconds, past Bob Mason. Broke my heart. I was hoping for a Washington victory. I didn't get it. But that was the game back in 1987. That was the first time I had watched an overtime game anything like that I had watched anything anywhere near as entertaining as it was a fantastic game that went on for quite a while. And yeah, we went into that 4th overtime. I remember I watched it with my father, and it was incredible because neither of us had a team to cheer for. This wasn't one of the Boston Montreal matchups where he was cheering for the Habs. I was cheering for the Boston Bruins. This was Islanders Washington. And it's kind of where Washington's heartbreak in second rounds or first round starts, really, because, again, the Islanders take him out. But 87-88, after they got knocked out in the second round, 75 games played in the regular season, 87-88, 47 goals, 45 assists, 92 points. This is where LaFontaine is a star in his own right. In the playoffs, 6 games, 4 goals, 5 assists, 9 points. So he is a key player for the Islanders at this point, and it looks like he's going to spend his entire career with the Islanders because in the 80s, that's how that kind of worked. Star players didn't move often. They did move, not very often, and usually it was towards the end of their career what happened. 88-89, 79 games, 45 goals, 43 assists, 88 points. But now we're getting into the point where the Islanders are having problems. And those problems on the ice seem to be increasing. This is where you start hearing about some of the attendance, and Nassau's probably got to be upgraded. It starts back in the late 80s. 89-90, 74 games, 54 goals, 51 assists, 105 points. It's the first time he has 50 goals, first time he has 100 points. great season. In the playoffs, he just played the 2 games, 1 assist in the 2 games. This is where he gets his first concussion. It was an open ice hit by James Patrick. Islander fans didn't like it. Nothing happened. And it's a different time. It is a different time. That James Patrick hit, I guarantee you, by today's standards, NHL Department of Player Safety would have come out and said something. Pat LaFontaine's career and how it was impacted by concussions made a huge difference to how the NHL deals with things. I really believe that between LaFontaine and Correa, these were 2 examples of guys who should have had nice, long, healthy careers and didn't. And the NHL said, okay, we need to do something to stem the tide of these concussions. 90-91, he plays 75 games, so that concussion took him out for the rest of that round, but he comes back and plays 75 games the following season. 41 goals, 44 assists, 85 points. But he doesn't want to stay in New York. He decides, no, I've had enough. He refuses a 4-year, $6 million contract. So that's 4 years, a total of $6 million. Not $6 million a year, $1.5 million per season. So after he refuses to report following not signing that contract, he's like, I'm not going to training camp. They have to make a move. So October 25th, 1991, while the season's already started, he's traded to the Buffalo Sabres with a 4th-round pick in 1992, Randy Hillier, and Randy Wood. So he traded with a couple of Randys there for Benoit Hogue, or if you watched on the French CBC network, it was Benoit Hug. It's one of my favorites. He's a Hug. Great. Uwe Krupp, Dave McElwain, and Pierre Turgeon. And Dave McElwain was probably traded again a week later. I don't think I've ever done a Dave McElwain video. I should at some point, because he got traded a lot. For a guy who didn't play that long. So he's traded to Buffalo. And it is an immediate success in Buffalo. This is a situation that, is kind of the worst case scenario for the Islanders. They do get Turgeon. Turgeon has a very good run with the Islanders. But out of the gate, in 57 games, 46 goals, 47 assists, 93 points. LaFontaine's on a mission, but only plays 7 playoff games that year, 8 goals, 3 assists, 11 points. 92-93 is the year of legend. This is the year that guarantees he gets a spot in the Hall of Fame. 84 games, because they played 84 that season. 53 goals, 95 assists, 148 points. This is when they've got a guy named McGillney on their team as well. So things are, well, they're pretty good for Buffalo at this stage. 148 points in the playoffs, 7 games played, 2 goals, 10 assists, 12 points. So Buffalo's problem's getting over the hump in the playoffs, right? But he's a second-team All-Star, and he's a Hart finalist as well. So Pat LaFontaine is fantastic, but 93-94, he misses almost the entire season. 16 games, 5 goals, 13 assists, 18 points. And this is where he starts to really have problems. And again, this is just repeated concussions take their toll on him. The following season, 94-95, he plays 22 games, 12 goals, 15 assists, 27 points. Plays 5 playoff games, 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points. And he wins the Masterton Trophy for dedication to hockey. So just for not giving up, they're like, all right, Masterton Trophy then for your willingness to keep going when other people would have quit. Along the same lines as like a Gord Kluzak, right? So, yeah, LaFontaine, absolutely fantastic when he's healthy, which is almost never. But 95-96, he almost plays the whole season. 76 games, 40 goals, 51 assists, 91 points. Things look pretty good, right? 76 games. All right, now if he can stay healthy, but 96-97 really cinches the fact that he is not going to retire healthy. Plays a grand total of 13 games, 2 goals and 6 assists for him over those 13 games. Francois Leroux of the Pittsburgh Penguins gets him with a high hit, gets him in the head, and it's a concussion. Again, high hits to the head. Back then, they're just hits. We didn't really worry about, oh, there's head contact. Look at this, it leads and he hits the head. Didn't worry. It was like, well, didn't worry is the wrong terminology. We didn't think it was anything other than a regular hit. Hits to the head are just hits, right? So 8 points in 13 games for him on that season, and some doubt as to whether or not he's ever going to play again. And definitely at this point, doubt as to whether or not he can ever play a full schedule. So he decides, I'm going to play. He ends up being traded September 29th of 1997 for a second-round pick in 1998 and future considerations. He goes to the Rangers, where again, he's not the same. 67 games, 23 goals, 39 assists, 62 points. It is remarkable that he was able to play 67 games as banged up as he was and dealing with concussion symptoms as he did. And then March 16th of 1998, in an innocuous collision, he collides with Mike Keane, a teammate, and that takes him out. This is where we really started to understand Pat LaFontaine, sadly, is the canary in the coal mine that tells us the more concussions you get, the easier it is to get the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And it just keeps falling that way, right? So he ends up having to retire October 12th of 1999. Notice, that's over a year after that season had ended. So he tried to come back. He tried, and it wasn't going to happen. Doctors basically advised him, maybe it's time. So he does eventually retire. Retires with 865 games played, 468 goals, 545 assists, 1,013 points. That points per game is the best career points per game by an American-born player at 1.17. So best among U.S.-born players. In the playoffs, 69 games played, 26 goals, 36 assists, and 62 points. His best playoff performance, 87. I'll go with 87 because of the Easter epic goal. So 2003, he's inducted into the Hall of Fame. Played for all three teams without leaving New York State. March 3rd of 2006, the Sabres retired as number 16, because of course they did. Played five All-Star games, 1988, 1989, 1990, 1991, and 1993. So he played in All-Star games 4 times as a member of the Islanders and once as a member of the Sabres. And yet I'm wearing Sabres because I was more impressed by what he did with the Sabres, including being able to come back from those concussions and play 76 games in one of those seasons before Francois Leroux finished it. June 7th of 2006, the New York Islanders, in a nice goodwill gesture, they name him the senior advisor to the owner. Kind of a Dwight Schrute, right? Kind of, sort of, kind of. But July 18th of 2006. So he's had the job about a month. He may not have unpacked all his stuff yet. They fired Neil Smith, and he's like, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm gone. And that's around where Garth Snow comes in to be the GM. So he was advising the owner for about a month. I don't think he advised him on much. November 13th of 2013, he was named the president of hockey operations by the Buffalo Sabres. Here's our new president of hockey operations. March 1st of 2014, he resigns. So he didn't last that long in Buffalo either. But hey, the effort was there. And he tried. And just no. So both the Islanders and the Buffalo Sabres that went through their downtime. Buffalo's still dealing with the downtime. The Islanders had decades, it seems, of just rough times and rough goes of it. And of course the Rangers, well, they've had their share of rough times too, but at least for the Islanders and Buffalo, he was there for some pretty good times. No Stanley Cup rings because he joins the Islanders after that last Stanley Cup ring, but he did get to the finals in '84, which is the only time he gets to the finals. And this is why guys should enjoy that run to the finals when they get it, because you never know when it's going to come back. And so there you go. The long career, and yet not very many games played career of Pat LaFontaine. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.